Great then. So good morning and happy new year all. And and we will be starting dynamics, which is my dynamics, which is of a VFX part. Um, okay. So normally when we say VFX, which is visual effects, we almost like think of creating, or playing around with footages in After Effects and all. So in After Effects, that is a VFX tool wherein there we play with footages. We import footages, FX footages, and we will work with that. Whereas in Maya, VFX means we create footages. Okay. There are so many options in Maya which you can create, and this is really huge. And in this, you can create, like, you will learn crowd simulation, you will learn a lot of like effects, fire effects, particle simulation, too many things you will be learning. Okay. So that's the thing. So if you like in the status bar here in the topics, under the topics, you can just select FX. There's a term called FX. You can just select this FX. Okay. So that's the first thing. And you can see under FX shelf, there are so many things. That's okay. We will look into that. And the major things which we will cover under FX is, as I said, we will see crowd simulation, particle simulation. We have fluid, which is liquid simulation. We can create ocean, pond, fire effects. We can create cloth simulation, cloth movement. Okay. Um, there are a lot many things out there. We'll see all that. Okay. Fine. So anyhow, we'll go like step by step. Okay. Just give me a sec. Great. So first thing under effects, as I was saying, these are particles. If you see N particles, N stands for nucleus. Okay. We can work with particles, and just to say there are certain things here. We have certain legacy particles also. Legacy particles are like without nucleus. Okay. We have particle tool like emitter, springs, so many things are there. We'll see. And if you have heard of rag dolls, we can play with, or we can work around with soft bodies. Okay, soft body, hard body, and all this. We'll see. Okay, and this is also really huge. We'll see some of the best examples into this. And coming to fluids, you have certain container. Within the container only, the fluid will work, okay, or it will simulate. Whereas particle to the global scale, it will simulate. And you have N cloth, you have hair system. You can create hair system for the character. And for all this, you have constraints. Okay, there are certain constants to play with. Okay, we'll see all that. And as you know, just like the real world, here also there are certain fields are there, and we need all these fields to animate or to simulate these particles. So I'll explain you the type of fields also. There are like 8 default like fields are there: air, field, drag, gravity, Newton, radial, turbulence, uniform, vortex. Okay, we'll see all this. And similarly, like we have certain rigid bodies are there: active rigid body, passive rigid bodies, and all. We'll see that. And for rigid bodies, there are certain constraints to work with. Similarly, there are some ready sets available: fire, firework. There are certain flow we can create. We can create lava, volcano system, and all we can create. We have lighting. There are some smoke effect and all is there. We'll see all this. So for now, let's start working with particle. So what I'll do, I will just go to the bottom part here. Um, like particle tool. There's something called particle tool. I'll click on the option box. See, click on the option box, come to particle tool. And in the option box, you have particle. So when I click here, you can see a red dot, like red one single dot. That's a particle. So now when I click, one particle is generating. So I can increase to 20, 30. And when I click, you see the same. But in the same place, there are 32 particles are there. If I increase the radius of this, and when I click, you can see 32 particle here. See, 32 particle here, 32 here. So I'll just change the background color to black so that you can see particles. Okay. So when I click, 32 particle. Similarly, I have option to sketch particle. I can turn on this sketch particle and I can sketch particle like this. Okay. Something like this. Okay. And when I press enter, this is called one particle system. What do you see? This is one particle system. I make it black. Alt B to change the background color. Anyhow, you know that. This is one particle system. In wireframe mode, it looks like this. Phi object mode, it looks like this. One particle system. It doesn't mean that one particle should be there. There are multiple particles are there, but the system is one particle system. Okay. Now, when I play, I'll make this to 200. Okay. 200 here, my frame here. Now see, when I play, nothing is happening. Why? Because we have the particle system, but there is no field or there is no external source which is affecting this. Now what I'll do, I select this, now come to field. It's always like this. You have to create particle, do something, means create something, and you need to work with field. That means you need to select the particle. As I told you, there are some 8 fields are there. Okay. I will show you vortex from the bottom. Do you know what is vortex? Vortex field? Vortex is nothing but like a twister. You know, twister, right? See, it rotates. Can you see the particles are getting rotated? See, there's a movement like this. Particles are getting rotated. Okay. See, like this. Now I'll go to attribute of the particle. There are like quite simple stuffs are there, but it is common, you know, you should know those basic stuff that I can say. So in the attribute, my vortex field is getting selected. Any field you take, any field, you take any of the field, 2 things are common. One is magnitude, another is attenuation. Okay. See, this is another field, another domain wherein in 3D, you can be a FX artist. It is called FX. You can be a FX artist. And this is also high in demand. A bit of science knowledge is required. That's it. At least, you know, intermediate level of science. That's it. Magnitude and attenuation. Magnitude is nothing but power. When I reduce magnitude, it's there only. See, and when I keep on like increasing, okay, See, negative value, positive value, okay, and it's like this. Attenuation is nothing but the controller, whatever the value here it is. Okay, as I increase, the speed is more, too much, means so much powerful. When I increase attenuation, what happens? It controls the animation. See, it tried to restrict the boundary. See, see, here only it's gonna play. It's moving, it's not moving too much. See, why? Because you have this here. When I place it in the center, this is what it looks. There's a movement everywhere, like this. You might have seen now, like this looks like a galaxy. Um, in the universe, you have galaxy animations and all that. It looks something like that. Okay. Now this is what field look like. Now select the particle. After selecting the particle, again you are in the attribute. Go to particle shape. Okay. So when it comes to particle, you can change the shape of the particle. Okay. So I'm just taking to the fundamental classes of this dynamics, but this is important, wherein this is common for most of the things. So now, when you come to particle, as I say, see, I'm selecting the particle, just in the attribute, you just scroll down, you have render attributes. Here you have particle render type. And in this, particle render type is nothing but, like when we see, how does the particle look like? It is looking like points. It is in the shape of points. Now just click on this drop down button. You see there are 10 different type of particles are there. In Maya, how many types of particles? See, you may get this question, in exams. How many types of particles are there? There are 10 different type of particle are there. For example, you have point here. You can see this as multi-point. Okay. Where one particle was there. Okay, you can select whatever particle you have choose, that attribute is over here. Okay, so where one particle was there, instead of like in that place there are 10 particles, like that. Now you can select multi-streak. There are streaks are nothing but like a line, like a okay, in this you see the streak width and all is there. We'll work on it. And you see numeric refers to like how many particles, individual particle are there in the system. There are thousand, 10,000s, like more, there are so much. Okay. Okay, so, and you have point. This is what by default, when you select the particle tool and create, you get point only. The point is the default particle now which gets created. And you have spheres. As you see, there are so many spheres are there here. And you can change the sphere shape also, wherein radius is the only thing which you can work with. And you see, this is the shape of the sphere. Okay. And you have sprites. Sprites are another thing, like wherein it's all like, like we can add some images and all. We'll get into that. And you have streak, as you were seeing, okay, see streak. Streak is having this option, line width, tail size. I can increase the tail size. I can increase the tail size, see? Okay. And tail fade. You can reduce the fade. Fade is, see, you just observe this particle here. One particle is, here. You can increase the size and you can reduce the fade. You can give a fade for the tail also. And width, you can increase the width of the tail, this streak as well. Okay. Use lighting, you can play around with this. And you have blobby surface, cloud and tube. See, this is how the blobby surface looks. This is how the cloud looks, and this is how the tube looks. Okay. So coming to the point here, as I told you, 10 different type of particle is there. Now, here there are 6 types of particle which are hardware renderer. Okay. Multi-point, multi-streak, point, sphere, sprite, streak. These many particles are hardware render particle. That means what is hardware render particle is, in the render setting, if you go to the render setting, here, see, you have Maya software, Maya hardware, Arnold, or maybe Mental Ray or some other render engine will be there. Maya hardware, and in Maya hardware only these 6 particle will be able to render, which are multi-point, multi-streak, point, sphere, sprite, streak. Numeric is a non-renderable particle. Numeric is only for visual purpose, only for the reference purpose. Numeric is non-renderable particle. It won't render. We have blobby surface, cloud, and tube. These are software render particle. So if you see, you have software. So the last 3 are software render particle. Any doubts? Any doubts up to here?
Still following, sir.
Okay, great. So now what I'll do, anyhow, see, we have created something like this. I'm gonna select this field vortex and I'm gonna delete it. And I'm selecting this particle. I'm gonna add one more field, which is gravity. So this stands for gravity second law. I think I did select gravity, right? Yeah, this is gravity. You know what is gravity, right? Gravity attracts towards the bottom of the core, like towards down. Okay. So now when I click, automatically it's falling. Why? Because we have applied a field called gravity, right? So now I delete the field, select another one. I select one more field called Newton. You guys may be like aware of Newton's law. Do you know what is Newton's law? Or you like, have you heard of Newton's law? MD Payabunga nahi at your school? Newton's law. Good. Newton, there are 3 different laws are there. Okay. This based on Newton's like first law, which is momentum. Okay. It attracts, it's nothing but the elements will attract towards the center. Okay. And it will be in the same momentum. Okay. So that means I have my Newton field here, and when I play, the particles will be attracted towards the center. See, it is getting attracted and it flows this particular animation. Then now, as you know, magnitude, I have selected Newton field. I'm gonna increase the speed of Newton field. See, now you get this particular like stream. Okay, got it? Okay, fine. I'm gonna delete this field and I'm gonna add another field, turbulence. Turbulence is nothing but like noise. Okay, certain noise will be there like that. Okay, I think I need to select this and apply field turbulence. So when I play, I think you get to see this sort of turbulence. See, some wavy effect, a lot of noise and wavy effect. So I can play with this turbulence. I can reduce the magnitude and all. See, it looks like a lot of streaks, some sort of animation and all it looks like. Okay, great. Okay, what I want you to do is create some particle, just explore this nine, select the particle system and play around with this field. You'll get to know. Okay. Now, let me just, do another example called in the particle tool only. I wanna reset this. I create particle grid, particles, enable particle grid, do some spacing, wherein 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, see. That means we have created this grid. Okay, particle. Now I can change my particle shape to streak. Okay, let me just make it. Okay, I have this blobby surface. Okay, let me just make it to blobby surface. I'm going to reduce the radius. Okay. So now what I can do is assume here for individual spheres are there, instead of sphere, I can make it look like a character, a person or a soldier. So what I have to do is, that's a step that we will see anyhow. That's what I'm referring to, crowd simulation, that we will do on crowd simulation class. Just an example I'm showing. I created a particle grid and I select this. I'm gonna apply a field called uniform field, and my uniform field is over here. I bring my uniform field over here and see what is this. Select the uniform field. Now this 3 is the box, right? X, Y, Z. These are like X axis, Y axis, Z axis. Now, what is this axis? I want to see. This is Y, this is Z axis, this is X axis, right? Blue is X axis. You can see here, you have axis definitions here. Okay. So under positive, negative means you have to give minus. Now see, these soldiers are gonna come towards, that is that Z axis? Something like this. They are gonna come like this. Or okay, yeah, Z axis, right? X, Y, Z. Z, I have to make it 1. This is 0. This is 0. And then see, these people are gonna come like this. All the soldiers are gonna run like this. Okay. So we can increase the speed also even. If I reduce attenuation, they'll be a bit faster. Okay. Okay. So like this kind of like war scene and all we can create. Okay. I just have to, replace from spear to character. Anyhow, we'll see all that. And that too, animated characters and all we can make. This is how it will be created. Okay. Now, we saw particle, just like we saw particle tool, we saw multiple fields. I'm going to show you one more thing called emitter, create emitter. When you select this emitter, you have an emitter, you got something here. Okay. So in a simple word, I'll say, what is an emitter? Emitter emits particle. It's a tool which emits particle. Now, when I play, you see, this is an emitter which emits a lot of particle. Keep on emitting particle. Now, this is a type. In emitter, there are 5 types of emitter. How many types of particle are there? 10 different types of particle are there. 6 are hardware rendered particle. Numeric is non-renderable. 3 are software render particle. Now coming to emitter, there are 5 types of emitter. Omni emitter, it emits 360 degree. If I go to directional emitter emits in one particular direction. Which direction is this? X-axis. See, it is emitting in X-axis. How do you know that? You just come down, direction is X. You can change this to Y also. I can make it Y. The X you have to make it 0. Now you see, it goes up. Okay. And again, particle, when you select particle, you can change the particle shape and all, that's okay. Now, but emitter, when it comes to emitter, it's like this. We'll see, we have seen omni and directional. In directional, we'll create some example. Okay. I have selected directional. Under directional, there is something called spread here. Distance and direction attribute. Spread is there. I'm gonna give some value. Now what happens? These particles are getting spreaded. See? Okay. I'm gonna spread a bit more. Apply spread more. Okay, this is what it looks like. Now what I'll do, I change the shape of particle. Instead of point, I make this streak or even multi-streak. Go to current render type. I enable color accumulation. And tail size, I'm gonna increase the tail size a bit. And I'm gonna reduce fade. So even instead of this, I'll just go with streak first. Okay. Now come to emitter again, here only. Now you see, anyhow I have choose directional emitter. It says particle per second rate, particle per second. That means per second 100 particles are getting emitted. So I can make it to 500. Now you see, so any value you change, you have to go to frame 1 and then you need to play. Okay. Now per second 500 particles are getting emitted. See, it's like this. So what I want is now, I'm gonna create a firework. This goes like this and comes back. Okay. So in a simple way, I just select this. I apply a field called gravity. And what happens now? When I play, automatically it falls down. Why? Because I have applied field. Now I select the particle. Anyhow, I'll go to emitter. I need to increase the speed here. Select the emitter, increase the speed. I increase the speed to 15 plus or minus 12. Now what happens? It goes up and comes down. I need to reduce the spread. See, it goes up, comes down like this. Okay. Great. So anyhow, just less than a minute is pending. I want you to, do some explore, learn this by Bongami MD. Just explore around particle type and field. We'll connect in the next class. Okay. Okay, MD.
Okay, so.
Anyway.